Hello, this is Johnny Henson, Professor Poole with Billiard University out of Phoenix, Arizona. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about one of the greatest pool players that ever lived. His name was Willie Mosconi. Willie Mosconi was one of the greatest players that the world has ever known. From 1940 to 1957, he won the World Championship in 14-1 15 times. And I think he was runner-up the other two. I mean, so you might as well say he owned the world title for almost 17 years, off of, except for those 2 years. Now, there's a lot of things that a lot of people don't realize that Willie Mosconi helped bring to the sport of pool. So we're all benefiting from what he did, and I'm just going to name some of those things. A lot of people don't realize that the standard 58-inch cue came from Willie Mosconi. Willie Mosconi was kind of a short person. I think he was like maybe 5'4". And when he had a custom cue made that was perfect for him, it was 58 and a half inches. And so some cue manufacturers figured, well, if it's good enough for Willie Mosconi, it's good enough for everybody else. So that's where the standard cue that we know today came from. Another thing that Willie Mosconi did is he produced one of the first pool instructional books. I think it was first printed in 1959, and I have one of the original copies. So he was already trying to help other people play good. He himself was a great player, but he was always trying to help others. Another thing that Willie Mosconi brought to the sport is he wanted to take a pool out of the hustler stigma, and he wanted to make it into more of a gentleman's sport. And so if you notice, if you watch any film of Willie Mosconi competing in tournaments, he always wore a suit, and he always was never sloppy. He always looked like he was a businessman, and so he never really talked about gambling or playing for money. That just wasn't what he did. At least he didn't do that on film. And the reason is he wanted to take the sport from a hustler sport to a dignified sport. And for that, I think we're all grateful for what he did on that. So basically, these are just some of the things that Willie Mosconi has done. And I think that all of us as players would benefit if we ourselves would, when we're around the pool hall or playing in league or tournaments, if we would act a little bit more like Willie Mosconi. And so if you haven't ever heard or never really seen video of Willie Mosconi, then you can go to YouTube or different places and look up some of that vintage footage and take a look at one of the greatest pool players that ever lived. His 526 ball high run, which most world titles were 150 ball matches. Maybe some might have been 200, but most were like 150. So if you think about it, that was many matches in a row without a miss, which is unbelievable. And that record was just broke recently, which is I think 65 years after he did it. And so when you do a record and it lasts for 65 years with millions and millions of players playing pool and your record stands, that just is amazing. In fact, the gentleman that broke Willie Mosconi's record said that he dedicated 10 years of his life practicing every day and doing exhibition runs every single day or at least numerous times a week. It took him 10 years to break Willie Mosconi's record, which is amazing. And I think it's a real tribute to how great this player really was. So watch Willie Mosconi. Try to mimic a little bit of his mannerisms and the classiness of this guy. And if you do, it'll make you be an ambassador to the sport. I want to thank you for your time, and you have a nice day.